my name's Sarah. I work with Got Green on climate justice and on the Gates divestment and campaign pushing Gates Foundation to divest from fossil fuel. I am sick and tired of these environmentalists who tell us to save the planet, as if it was the planet that was most at risk, not civilization as we know it. See, it upsets me when people only want to talk about polar bears when entire islands like the Maldives and the indigenous people on it will go underwater at our internationally agreed upon target of 2 degrees of warming. My father had to leave Ethiopia due to the political unrest that followed the famine from a drought that was later connected to the pollution coming from Britain. Why is it that people in Africa and South America, people of color worldwide, are the ones dying the most, millions every year, because of climate change, yet it is the Western countries that are most responsible? The colonizers from the global north stole fossil fuels from the global south. They use these fossil fuels to build up their countries, and now the pollution from these stolen fossil fuels is literally coming back to kill people in the global south in the shape of climate change. That is why true climate justice solutions must be decolonial. That is why indigenous people and people of color reject any carbon solutions that are revenue neutral and don't prioritize the most marginalized, and any solution that allows for offsets, where polluters can keep polluting by paying off of their carbon sins through the colonization of the global South forest. This is not true climate justice. When I was a kid, I loved the earth and the animals, and I wanted to protect them all. I dreamed of being a scientist and working for the Environmental Protection Agency. But in college, I had the opportunity to intern there, and had my heart broke. You see, they care more about not getting sued than they do about the environment. I had the oil and gas permitter at EPA tell me they permitted more extraction than block it because they didn't want to fight the fossil fuel companies' lawyers or lose funding from Congress. So I went into science because I thought surely the climate scientists care the most about the world burning. But looking into a microscope in a NOAA laboratory, again I had my eyes open. I could see with my own eyes pteropods, the zooplankton that make up the foundation of the entire ocean's food web, dissolving in the current state of the ocean. I looked up to the scientists asking, what are we going to do? This is a federal government, and then we can see right here the oceans are dying. We must stop the extraction now. But they shook their head and they told me we would write another policy recommendation and hope that someone read it. So again, I left because we must not waste time on false solutions. But that's why I'm disappointed when I hear environmentalists preach about buying hybrid cars and changing light bulbs, which is certainly important, but we missed our chance to solve climate change with individual actions in the 1980s. Climate change calls for system change. That's why I get frustrated when people act like we can continue on like this, when the fundamental principles of our economy that our economy is based on is incompatible with a sustainable planet. We measure growth by gross domestic product, encouraging consumption as a means to increase quality of life. But our lives aren't getting better. In fact, America has the highest rate of consumption, yet we also have the highest rate of depression. And there's only so much an economy can grow on a finite planet. We have pushed our planet to its limits. We are faced with not only climate change, but massive species extinction, ecosystems collapsing, and oceans acidifying. Climate change is only a symptom of capitalism, and until capitalism's insatiable need to consume is addressed, we will continue to exploit the earth and the most vulnerable. In fact, the economy is set up in such a way where only a certain amount of countries can grow at the expense of other countries. And given the reality of patriarchy and white supremacy, those who have and have not are divided quite clearly on the lines of gender and race. But if we take climate change seriously, we have an opportunity to not only save ourselves from the biggest threat humanity has faced collectively, but we also have an opportunity to right the wrongs of capitalism, white supremacy, and patriarchy. But this cannot be done by the same players who created this mess. It must be led by the people most affected: indigenous people, people of color, women, youth, and workers. We must look to ourselves for our liberation, because those profiting off the current system are entrenched in this system. That is why nothing will change until the people push this system to change. This December, I'll be in Paris at the climate talks, where activists have promised the largest civil disobedience ever. And I invite you all to join us in solidarity to change the status quo here in Seattle, too. Because we are what's at risk, and we are what's worth fighting for, and we can change everything.
Let's hear one more time for Sarah to go up.